And Rosemary Ahira, analyst, financial derivatives company, joins us to discuss this. Rosemary, is the Ramadan price surge purely seasonal, or are there other factors at play here?
Good afternoon, Will. Thank you for having me on the show. Well, the Ramadan with the Ramadan season approaching, we're seeing some pressure on the prices of fruits, especially orange. Yes, so the price of orange increased by 50% to about 15,000 naira for a large basket. But the seasonal demand pressure only tells you part of the story, and not the is not the entire explanation. Essentially, so we have other factors like supply pressures. We in planting areas like Benue or your farmers are facing increasing off-season demand pressures because of Ramadan fasting season. And coupled with this, there is other factors like low yields from the farms because of irregular rainfall, and also um, issues with logistics as well. When we talk about logistics, for diesel prices are still very high, and cost of spare parts and maintaining these trucks that transport these fruits from the farms down to urban areas where demands are typically very high is also rising as well. So these are putting pressure on the incomes of farmers, the cost of running these farms as well. When we talk about what this means for consumers, so it means higher prices, essentially like the 50% increase, higher prices for consumers. So they either buy in smaller quantities or they buy substitutes like tangerine and the rest. For traders, they in the short term they usually benefit from higher profits, but if prices stay elevated for too long, they tend to go into losses because people will start buying less and less and less, and orange is highly perishable and it tends to spoil when it stays with them for too long. And yeah, so these are the dynamics we should be seeing if this should persist.
Okay, but naturally, when we think of higher prices, especially with orange prices rising, we think of higher earnings as well. So why are the exports for orange falling despite these higher earnings that we're seeing?
Well, when you look at the numbers, in 2023, specifically, the export earnings increased by 30%, while volumes dropped by 11%. And the answer is simple, but basically, so in 2022, the naira was sold for 655 naira per dollar. That was the exchange rate at the time. While in 2023, it went up by about 36.3% to around 891 naira per dollar. So you see that the exchange rates there played a major factor. Another thing is that oranges planted in Nigeria are made mostly for domestic consumption. So they are not really getting post-harvest handling right. There is issues with chemical control, pesticides, and the rest. And it's not really meeting export standards as much. So we don't tend to export as much volume as we ought to.
Okay, so we've seen a basket of oranges now from 10,000 naira to 15,000 naira. That's probably going to, like say, deter consumers from spending more on it. But could health concerns also push consumers back from the whole oranges that we know?
I would say yes, but slightly. So when we look at fresh oranges versus substitutes like orange juice, for instance. Orange juice typically have a lot of added sugar, yes, and contains little or no fruit, and there's a lot of flavorings and preservatives in it and all. I would say consumers are not aware. It's just that sugar tends to be very, very addictive. So it's a little difficult for consumers to kind of let go of this that they are so used to. But one thing that I feel that is a very brilliant policy that is happening in Japan at the moment is that they mandated that juices that have little fruit content, let's say 5%, 1%, and all, are only allowed to put fruit stickers and not the pictures of actual fruits. And I feel if that kind of policy is implemented in Nigeria, it will act like a constant reminder to consumers that okay, this isn't actual fruit juice. So that will fill the knowledge gap and keep them reminded to be health conscious, health wise. And also, there's also the cost factor to it as well. Yes. Fresh oranges, they have a lot of fiber, vitamin C, they are good for hydration and all, but they tend to be very expensive and you cannot find them as easily as you would find these typical orange juices. So if that can be resolved, I think it should contribute to consumers kind of shifting their demand to fresh oranges. But however, I think the shift will be very low.
Rosemary, we do need to stay healthy and, oranges and fruits. So one of the fastest ways we can get our nutrients intact. Thank you so much, Rosemary Ahira, analyst with Financial Derivatives Company. Thanks for your perspective on Business Incorporated.
Thank you for having me.